We're here with Ulster champion Chrissy McKaigue. Chrissy, how have the last couple of days been?
Blur, to be honest. But look, you're probably only getting a chance now to digest it a little bit. But just the whole journey this year has been hugely satisfying too. With the respect that we have for Tyrone, Monaghan, and Donegal, and what they have done over the last decade in Ulster, the three dominant teams, especially obviously Donegal and Tyrone. To know now that we can compete with them is hugely satisfying for a very young group, and you can always think you can compete with the best teams, and you can always hope you can compete with the best teams, but until you feel them in the white heat of championship, you never really know. And to know now that we can compete and beat them is just a massive reward for the work this group has put on.
It's an unbelievable story because you see so many counties get bogged down in being underdogs where their belief eventually just gets totally sucked out of them. So how did the opposite happen to this Derry team?
I think we've just took unbelievable energy and unbelievable confidence from our dedication and commitment to each other over the last probably 2.5 years. There's very few counties, if any, that have put as much work and dedication into their setup and into their style of play than we have. The hours we've spent together, the commitment and care we've done, the camaraderie within the group has been phenomenal, and it has not been a theme that I've been familiar with in my Derry career. I'll be very honest about it, and that's testament to not only just Rory Gallagher and his management, but also to the makeup of the characteristics of the playing group. They're mostly all very young lads who are very, very friendly with each other, irrespective of what club they come from, and so refreshing to see it, because see, when it comes to the Ulster final and you're 2 points down in an unbelievable KG game, that camaraderie and that togetherness is then tested and needed more than ever. You can talk about tactics all you want, but unless you have that, in my opinion, you don't get to see the tactical brilliance or the togetherness anyway. So so refreshing, and it's probably something that I wasn't sure I would see in my Derry career, to be honest, but it shows you the impact of a very special leader, and I believe that Rory Gallagher is that special leader.
It's incredible. Can I just ask one very specific thing then? Just on fitness. You guys, like even the very last image of the game, the amount of bodies flooding up the pitch, you could even notice it on television. What was pre-season like? What was the COVID years like for you guys? And how much work did you have to put in? And what sort of work did you have to put in?
I think it's more. I think there are a couple of things there. I think you can't beat youth. And that's a big factor in fitness, of course, especially when you get to my stage. You realise that less knocks and bangs and all them things, but there's no doubt about it that I just think it's the amount of hours that we spent together. And the also thing is, yes, you can talk about the fitness and you can talk about what we've done this pre-season, but this has almost been a project that's been building for 2.5 years. So it's sort of been the time investment has been significant, and we have an excellent S&C coach in Peter Hughes, who's just phenomenal, who understands the game but also understands the sports science as good as I've ever been part of, and I've seen a fair few good ones. So there's so many variables that goes into making a team successful, and there's so many variables that goes into taking a team from Derry that have been at the very lowest echelons of the competition now to competing with the best teams and now winning major honours. So there's no one reason. There's just a variety of reasons, and getting our house in order and getting the best people into the different roles, and it's taken so many people to make us Ulster champions.
On an individual level then, has your ability to man-mark an opponent got better this year, or is that just part of the whole tide being rising this year?
I think irrespective of where I play from a club, I've played a lot of years for Derry now, more than I care to remember, but I've always played most of it marking or in the full back line or whatever else. So look, there's no doubt about it with the style of play and whatever else, that and the confidence that Rory has in me to at least try and go out and mark the better players, that it's given me a boost of energy. It really has, but that I'm also energised by the age of the squad and by the energy and by the ambition that they have, because if I didn't feel that they have that, I would have had no problems pulling the pin, to be quite frank with you. So look, it's the management, it's the players, it's the collective, and that's one thing that we're very big on. The collective trumps any individual, and see, when you have a group that believes in the collective more than an individual and is willing to sacrifice himself for the betterment of the team, special things can happen.
Still can't believe Darren McCurry actually scored off you.
I'm disappointed with that himself, but I was saying to Darren after the game, he's as good a forward as I've ever marked. And the problem is when you're going to mark Darren McCurry and Jack McCarron, good forwards are hard enough to mark, but good forwards in form are a nightmare.
That's a good point. McCurry was flying going into that game.
Yeah, the Jack McCarron too, and you know, Paddy McBurdy the two. Like, so it's harder to mark good players in form, but the reality is, you want to be going out and putting yourself up against the best, as scary as it is at times. But it's a hugely rewarding place to be in. As a child growing up, as somebody said, I had the opportunity to captain my county and go out and mark the marquee forwards and give my best. It's something that I could only ever have dreamed upon, and now it's coming through. And as hard a work as it is, it's deeply satisfying.
Do you feel you can beat anybody at this stage?
Do I feel we can beat anybody? I honestly pull no punches. I think Dublin and Kerry are a wee bit ahead of the rest at the minute, but a lot can change with the nature of the draw now, and God knows how the qualifier goes and whatever else. But I would like to think that we can be competitive with just about anyone, but there's a big difference between being competitive and beating people. So whatever happens this year happens, but I'd be hugely optimistic about the future of Derry football with the age profile of the team, with the conveyor belt of underage coming through, that something bigger could happen in years to come. It's a big statement because you're talking about ifs and maybes, but the reality is now I'm very, very happy with the health of Derry football, and we have to do our best now to protect this and not make Sunday an isolated occurrence, and to keep Derry at the top table, because a large part of Derry's history has been down the top table, and thank God we see that day back again.
I'd say you haven't got a wink of sleep over the last 4 days with celebrations and media, so go enjoy today's nap.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.